Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, and in darkest night you were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. Oh, all my life you have been faithful.
That's how this thing you are calling aircraft, and for which you are not going to go to heaven, you are criticizing, you have turned bitter. That's how it's going to be. Oh, flying cars, flying all sorts of things. Now, I hope you know you can buy your product and something will do drop it for you in your compound. You didn't go out anywhere. That's why our brothers that created Alaba International, Idumota, Omata, Area, we need to wake up. Oh, the world is changing. Oh, Zumia and all this other online shopping is getting more serious. So what you need now is to invest money in warehousing. Because no matter how you buy online, there has to be a place where they will get the product. Invest more on warehousing. Invest more on online shopping. Government is breaking down shop, you can't break down online shop. The world is not a global village. Can I hear somebody? Help me tell your friend now, break the walls down. Nobody can hold you down. It's not like that time anymore. Whatever you have developed that is good. I said, when you lie now is when people come and you are not delivering what you are promising. Make sure that you deliver. And then that one customer satisfaction will lead to 1,000 more customers. And nothing works like word of mouth or endorsement. One person telling others, one person helping to. The endorsement of others is more powerful than what you're saying about yourself. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? Person is saying, give me money, pray for me for money, so that everything is not about money. Wisdom is better than money. It will create money and leave you more profit left. Okay, let's get back to this question. Okay, number one is for whom he foreknew, verse 29. Romans 8, verse 29. For those he foreknew, he predestinated to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Now the goal here is to get them to be like Jesus, to be conformed to the image of Christ, so that Jesus will just be the firstborn among his brothers. That's the goal. But the 5 steps to unfolding of God's plan for your life, the first is foreknowledge. The second is predestination. Go to verse 30, you see the remaining one. And those he predestinated, them he called. So the third is divine calling, or the call of God on your life. The fourth is those he called, them he justified. Justification. And then the last is those he justified, them he glorified. Now, let's touch the last one. Glorification is when Joseph is now sitting on the throne, Prime Minister of Egypt. The dream has become a reality. God has promoted him. God has exalted him. Glorification for Jesus is when they made him King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and told him, sit down at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. The full cycle of his destiny has been completed. Glorification is where you are going when God has finished making what he wants to make out of you. He has exalted you. He has elevated you. He has placed you in that place. Everybody looks at you. You are a testimony. You are a success. But you're on your way to that place. The first thing God does is foreknowledge. God knew you. And that's what Paul said. If you understand the 5 things, then you can say, what can we say to these things? God knew you before your parents even came together. You are not an accident. You are not an afterthought. What is foreknowledge? Is that period when God conceived you in his heart. What is calling? Go to number 3. Is that period when that vision God has in his heart enters your own heart. The day God got pregnant in heaven and he knew about you and he began to dream about you is the starting point. You started in the heart of God, not in the heart of your parents. You started in the mind of God, not in the womb of your parents. God carried you in his womb before your mother carried you in her womb. You did not start here, you started there. I like it. Jesus said, I came from heaven and I go back to him that sent me. Have you ever read this scripture? Maybe you should show it to them. Whatsoever is born of God overcome the world. Actually, the scripture said overcome it. It will keep defeating the world. Doesn't matter what you throw at it. Doesn't matter how many devils come against it. Doesn't matter how many people arrange against it. It will defeat all of them. Realize it. You are born of God. You were conceived in the mind of God, and he dreamt of you, and he saw you. God looked and saw this young man and saw the kind of future he was going to have. Dreamt of him. Even gave him a name before he was born. Called him Joseph. So that this young man is the one that will save people from famine during a time of economic distress in the land of Egypt. He's going to rise up a deliverer. And he now went to verse 2, which is predestination. Predestination is now the plan of God. Foreknowledge is the dream of God, is the vision of God. Now that God has a dream for your life, has seen your future ahead of time, he goes to second stage where he plans your life before you are even created. Predestination is setting the end before the beginning. Let me ask you, when do you put goalposts in a match? When the match ends or before the match starts? That's how God works. God does not start with the beginning. God starts with the end. Destinies are pre-arranged. Okay. Thank you, sir. I will do that. The Lord said, use word picture. They will get it faster. They're using many words. Here in Dominions, we built a number of facilities. And when a group of our sons here wanted to build a house for me, they had a dream and all of that. But finally, they communicated the dream, and so it got inside me. It was their dream for their pastor. But finally, once that dream has been made known to me, you are at level 3. That's what is called calling. Calling is the time revelation has been given you of your destiny. That's not when the destiny actually started. The destiny was there before you were born, but that's the time you discovered it. The calling, when you say, like me, who wanted to work in an oil company and all that, and I say, I was called by God to be a pastor. I was not called to be a pastor the day I discovered that. That's the day the vision left God's heart and was successfully communicated to me, and I bought into it. That's why I'm doing it now. So they sent a group that approached me, and they talked to me. I said, okay, that's good. You can go ahead, They said, but we need to know some of the things you like. I said, okay, if you get the architect, he can sit down with me and I'll tell him a few things. Because the way you build for a businessman is not how you build for a pastor. For example, I work with a library and I have a lot of books. A lot of them. So things like study, things like library, such things matter to me. So they brought this architect, and he sat down with me, and he had some basic concepts, and then I would tell him this, I would tell him that, and then I would talk to Pastor Sarah, and he would say this, and after that, they came out with a drawing. That is what we mean by predestination. Predestination is to build a building before you start building it. That building that is already finished on paper is what you finally engage a contractor to produce in the physical. Your destiny was finished before it started. Predestination is developing the architectural drawing. It's developing the blueprint. There's even something God does in predestination. Sometimes he even creates a prototype for the man that is to come. He will send somebody sometimes before you are born to run the race you are about to run. A similar race, to leave you footprints to follow. How do I explain that? Do you know about Elijah in the Bible? Elijah was fulfilling his destiny, but Elijah was a prototype for Elisha. You know about Elijah in the Bible? Elijah lived 700 years before John the Baptist. But Elijah, who lived 700, was a prototype for John the Baptist, who was going to come 700 years after. So when he arrives, he's not confused. There is a model. There is a role model. There is somebody he can look at his life and say, okay, I'm to model my ministry after this. Yes, there might be a difference here and here, but at least I have the basic guidelines to follow. Hello. That's why you don't follow everybody. Even in ministry, you know, when you go to the church that you are called to be in, once you hear the message, it gets inside you and resonates. And then what you do is that you enter into a covenant to be part of that place, to be part of building that place. You know, you don't join a church because that's your parents' church. You don't join a church because the person is from your village. You don't join a church because the person is from your tribe. You don't join a church because they gave birth to us in this church. You are training to be a businessman. You get to Lagos to find out there is Lagos Business School. They have the resources to prepare you for that. You don't say no. What my dad and mom attended was St. Patrick Lumumba Primary School. And that's where they stop. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But your own destiny, you are called to go where? Take the family's destiny to another level. When you come to where you belong, the message, you should know who is sent to you. You should know who you are sent to. The people you are sent to will hear you. If they are not listening to you, leave them alone. You're not meant to reach everybody. You are reaching another person's assignment. But you should know who is sent to you. The person that is sent to you, his words reaches you like no man. Don't take such person like no man. Don't play with, like me, I know who sent to my life. Their words are life to me. Jesus said, the words I speak unto you, they are life, they are spirit. That's how those words are. Any other person's words can be advice, can be whatever. Not my spiritual father. Not, he said, my sheep hear my voice. If they can't hear it, they are not mine.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, and in darkest night, you were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God.